twist the lie, catch stunts in my 745. You drive me crazy, shorty. I need to see you and feel you next to me. I provide everything you need, and I like your smile. I don't wanna see you cry. Got some questions that I gotta ask, and I hope you can come up with the answers, babe. Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me, girl? It's easy to love me now. Oh, now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love
Your boy here was good, y'all. Appreciate you guys watching. Of course, there's always some kind of fucking technical difficulties in the beginning. I do have some guests in the waiting room waiting to join me. But before we get to that, I have an issue that I need to address to you guys that happened this weekend. And so I'm going to get right into it because we got a lot to talk about. And one of the first things that I want to say before we even go, get into the actual show itself, right? Is over the weekend I posted this. You can take a screenshot if you want and read it, but it's basically my reason on why I cannot vote for what's his name, Zarad Mandani, right? And the reason I posted that is because he was my choice for this election coming up. But what happened was over the weekend, Marianne Pizzatola, if you don't know who she is, she's in charge of the New York City Organization of Retirees, and she's helping to fight uh, the retirees get their traditional Medicare back, which is something similar to what we're doing here at TW 100R. Um, but she held a podcast which had both uh, Cuomo and Silva on there, and they both sat there with her, and they discussed the issues, right? Our issues about the medical retirees. They addressed them, they discussed them, they talked a lot of good game. Great. So let's fast forward a little bit more in time. Sorry, not that one. Where I then, when I posted that, somebody in my chat who I respect said, you should be posting who you're gonna vote for and why. I gave it some thought. I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right. And so I went ahead and I posted this. You could take a screenshot and read it, please. I implore you to. Because when I posted this, people were in my comment. People got upset at me. Uh, hey, a little apple juice, y'all. But people got upset at me because I guess I'm not sure they actually read my post or not. But the fact that Cuomo is a choice, one of the two candidates, they were upset about Cuomo. Now, I understand where they're coming from as far as Cuomo's concerned. Cuomo's been a devil in my eyes for a long time because of, and people actually reminded me in the comments that he implemented Tier 6. I trust me, I know that he implemented Tier 6. I was fighting against that before I was fighting with TWU. I went to Albany to fight against Tier 6 and reform it. I've been an advocate on getting rid of Tier 6 since they implemented it. So I know that. And I understand that people don't like him. See, I even told Marianne that I don't like Cuomo because of the baggage that he has. He fucked us up in transit and, did sexual allegations against him. And I just kind of feel like he had his turn already. And so my vote was going to go for Zohran Mamdani. But here's the thing, like in my post, Cuomo and Silva are the only two who sat with Marianne to discuss the issues that we are fighting. They promised some good stuff. Cuomo, an inch more than Silva. So I have to consider him as a uh, you know, for my vote. My vote is powerful, and understand that I, along with TWU, we represent a minimum of 20,000 people that are behind us that need us to fight this fight for them, and that's not counting actives. That's basically just here in New York, and we're not even talking about around the country, which we have traveled to discuss our issues with people outside of New York. I have all those people counting on us. I can't just vote for Zeron because I like him. It's not about me at this point. It's about protecting the retirees and in essence protecting you, your future. You may not feel it now, and there's a lot of people who are willing to stay on Medicare Advantage, and that's fine. But we have people who are coming to us and they are hurting bad. There's a lot of serious cases out there. And I have to vote for them, not just for me. Mandani was my choice. Me and my sister sat there and we discussed that. And the fact that he won't even listen to Marianne, 10 months she's been trying to get him to sit at the table to talk. He's not giving us a voice. Why should I give him my vote on my issues that hold so many people involved? So I understand if you're upset at me. I get it. I get it. But understand, I didn't say I voted for Cuomo. I just said he's a candidate. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote yet. Early voting started. I haven't voted yet because it's weighing heavy on me. I really don't like Cuomo. I don't. But like I said, he inched Silver out by a fraction of something that he promised. So I have to at least consider that. I have to weigh it in. And I'm going to give it some heavy thought. But my vote is going to be for one of these two, whether you like it or not. It's not about me. You can hate me all you want. That don't make me shit any different. So I just wanted to address that, I I can't go any. I can't say anything further. My post explains exactly what it is I'm dealing with. Again, it doesn't say I voted for anyone. I get that you're upset about Cuomo. I'm just as upset about even having to think about him. But they're the only two who's promising. Listen, from what I'm hearing, and the only reason I'm saying this is I can't actually confirm it, but from what I'm hearing, what Cuomo has said to Marianne, he has a gauntlet in his hand with all 5 rings, and he could just snap his fingers if he get into office, and all of our problems will go away, including yours. You won't have to worry about this in the future. So yes, you're included in this. If what Cuomo says is true and he actually follows through, one snap, we're done. Case is closed. Retirees could go live their best life and not have to worry about this for the rest of their days here. And we, as future retirees, I'm a retiree, but as future retirees, because I shouldn't be retired, but you don't have to worry about it again in your future. Silver, he's up there. I don't know if what he's saying, again, it's all politicians. You just don't know if they're going to actually follow through with what they promised. But at least they sat down at the table. Mondani's not even recognizing us, and he's not even in office yet. So imagine if he gets into office. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I hope people understand my position. Again, I haven't voted yet. These are just the options that are left for me. You do what's best. Like I said in both my posts, you do what's best for you. I have at least 20,000 people that are dependent on what we do, and that changes everything. It's not about me. So, kudos. May the best man win, and hopefully it's one of the two that can help us do what we do. I really would love to just relax. and let's move it on to that. I just want to bring up this other point. My man Doc Kim, he always has his annual man focused events that he has. Please take a screenshot of this. Get your children involved. He always fights for the kids in the community. They have chances to win up to $400 by writing an essay. You can see here on what it is, what the essays are about. Have your children get involved. They have to be a certain age. You get certain rules there. First place gets 400, second place gets 200, and third place gets $100. And all the letters will be mailed to the uh, enacting mayor at the time. So he'll get to read all those messages. It's always a great thing to do. Again, screenshot it and let your peoples know. Get involved. Get your children involved. Right. Now, with that, without further ado, I'm going to bring in my two guests because we have some shit to talk about. Again, this is a second part for what happened last week, where we were talking about how union reps are throwing members under the bus and stuff like that. So I have both here, Caesar with me. What up, Caesar? And I have again Big Lloyd, who's had a busy day. So, what's good, gentlemen? How are
What's
we
going
doing
on?
today? I
How's it going?
apologize. Apologize for a little technical difficulty. Shit always happens when you go live.
Fine.
Mhm. But what's good, y'all? What's going on?
Nothing much. Just observing what's going on, not liking very much of it, and talking to a lot of past and present employees. It
Okay.
doesn't seem like the tradition is being carried on. It doesn't appear that we're being represented with strength, honor, and integrity. And
Right.
that has a lot to do with the reason why I threw my hat in the ring to become division chair.
All right.
Uh,
So before you go on, Caesar, let people know who you are.
my name is Kenneth Wright,
Okay.
but most people call me Caesar. It's a family given name that helps keep my grandfather alive and his spirit going because he named me that. It's not a
Okay.
street name. It's a family given name.
Okay.
Um,
Mine's is a street name.
huh?
Mine's is a street name.
Well, I kind of figured that, some things don't need any introduction. I just wanted to offer clarity to
Yeah.
probably an unclear situation. But
Gotcha.
I see a lot of things that uh, when the gentleman in the box was in office, you didn't see, and there's no perfection in anything. But if you have honor and integrity and literally put the members first and just don't have a title of members first, then you could have some productivity and you could have people who's willing to follow your lead. Because if you're a leader and nobody's following you, you're just taking a walk. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to get into a whole lot of specifics and pointing fingers and things of that nature, but I'm displeased and I'm fully confident in myself with the ability to do better. I might not have the experience, but I have the integrity. I have the strength and the honor that would make me a prime candidate to restore faith in a division.
Mm-hmm.
The brother below, he could tell you I learned a lot from him. And when they had the check off, when they stopped the check off, he was in
Mm-hmm.
office. I paid for a whole year at one time when he came to my depot because I know the importance of representation and what it takes to get good representation. And if you have integrity, that's all it takes. You can't be a get along to go along type of a go along to get along type of person. Uh, you can't wear knee pads.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And, and,
Right.
and I'm not making any accusations towards any one person, but there's something been lost in transition. I've been on the job 23 years, and I've seen things that just don't make me happy.
Right. Can you give an example?
Now, I don't want to get in specifics,
All right.
but
Why not? We could
we,
do
we
the
huh?
specific thing. We could do specifics here.
I
Specifics
could
here.
do it anywhere. I could do it face to face. I can do it wherever, but it's just not conducive for productivity. And in my opinion, the people can see what's going on. I don't need to point things out, but as long as they know there's options and they're not just stuck with one thing, and that the things that they're seeing is what's everybody else seeing, and it's
Hmm.
very alarming, to say the
Hmm.
least. You don't have to like certain individuals, but we need to live by the rules and regulations in the bylaws that
Hmm.
govern our very existence. And once we start bending them to our satisfaction, and then that just desecrates everything that we believe in, and everybody before us just wasted their time because we're not keeping things alive and we're not adhering to what's been put before us. Mr. Quill is turning over in his grave right now.
I bet. I bet. Lord, you got anything you want to add to
Well, let me go sit at my notebook.
that?
See, that's just off the cuff. Like, I didn't realize that I was putting myself in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not very well versed with this type of stuff. And once I'm in, I'm in, but I didn't realize that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you got to sit back a little bit when you're cutting yourself off from the
Oh,
head.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's all good. Go ahead, Lloyd.
so even before I retired, this clickishness, clickishness.
Mm.
That's exactly the problem. People vote for people because they're their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said in the last week when you had me on, you my friend, so I'm gonna vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know what you're doing?
There you
Just
go.
like I had a problem. I posted something up with a law firm that's taking people on that's been and I've been retired 10 years, almost 11 years. People has been people has been held out of service by medical,
Mm-hmm.
and the administration that's there now don't even know how to file or will not file a medical appeal grievance to get people back to work. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's a class action suit. So some smart ass send me a message, about our case that we got going on.
Mm-hmm.
I ignored it. I said, but I didn't ignore it. I can't ignore stupidness like that. So you
Right.
boasting about retirees in this stupid ass medical plan. Haven't
Mm-hmm.
gotten a response yet. But anyway, this cliquishness needs to stop. These young people need to realize and be educated on what a union is and what a union expects of them. That's not
Mm-hmm.
happening. That stopped happening years ago. This is why they don't care. They won't engage because they see exactly what a retiree sees. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not my homeboy, or if you're not in my union office with me, or you had all these functions, then I'm not going to help you out. You're secondary.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna leave that there.
No, but you guys have good points. I mean, even the ones that are elected, there's a couple of people that were just like not really just recently, but pretty much the last elections where they were promising to change the culture, and so they got elected on that promise, But there's been a one of the guys was called Nasir Abdul, and he actually posted 6 days ago in the chat exactly what we're talking about. How things are just changed, things are just not the same, and the union's not the way the union used to be. And he's one of them that we elected, that people elected to change the culture, and he's trying, but he had to post that because he's getting fed up, and I don't blame him. He's like, it's like pulling teeth here. Like the
well,
union is
well, well.
supposed to have our back. Uh huh.
Again, Blunt. That's because you're not. He won't be with the go along to get along crew,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the problem. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I was targeted. You understand? Maybe because I said what I said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna always say what I say. And people
Right.
don't like that. Grown people don't like to be checked.
Right.
But if you, like we talked about at the last meeting, if you know that the man is downstairs in the yard and you come down there with your hat on backwards and your Jordans on and your cargo pants, and when he say something to you, you get mad and you're dead ass wrong. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the minute that I can't help you, for the first time I can't help you, I'm the worst person in the world.
Yep.
And then you got the parrots behind that person spreading rumors, which
Mm-hmm.
that's not what a union is all about. I was in unions before I got on this job, before I got on that job.
Mm-hmm.
And half of these dudes wouldn't even survive. But I'm not bashing the people, but if you want things, you got to be right to get them.
Correct.
It's just simple as that.
And people are out there committing terminal offenses, whereas one time you get caught and you lose your job, like cell phone. How many times they put out memos that you can't have your cell phone on, can't be making phone calls while driving?
Man, I was in New York a few months ago. This dude talking to the windshield. You understand what I'm saying? If I see it,
Exactly.
you
Everybody
understand
sees
what
it.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And then they get caught. They go to the office and they got their representation and the union elected officials like I can't really do anything about this. They come out the office, oh, this union sucks. These dudes don't know what they're doing. Don't trust them. And they telling everybody, and they circle that, and then that circle goes out to their people.
yeah.
Then it's like the whole mistrust. Then we are where we are right now.
Yeah, but right now, the fight that I'm in. I can't really concentrate on that.
Exactly.
I got a few people. I won't name names. Family that's driving buses now in Brooklyn depots, and I got to tell them, don't tell them you know me. Please don't. And that's
That's
bad.
bad. That's terrible, man.
You know, because they'll probably be targeted.
Right.
But
Right.
I tell them do what you're supposed to do, get your money, and go home. You know,
Yeah.
we spoke
I mean,
about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
even Pete has to be careful what he say because they already pulled him in the office for doing TikToks and stuff like that. So he
Yeah,
can't really say what he wants to say, but I can.
I can too.
I can. So,
They're gonna take
oh.
my pension, but I. But it's just crazy, man. But
Hmm.
like I said, I got bigger issues, and you
Hmm.
know what those issues are. We fighting this case.
Hmm.
And even the active members is ignoring it because they don't think it's going to be. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and I'm gonna leave it alone. I remember when I was driving a bus, and them old people used to get on the bus with the red, white, and blue cards, and we used to
Hmm.
laugh at them. Guess what? I got one of them motherfuckers now. I'm that same old dude that's gonna have to climb up on a bus, show my red, white, and blue card, and but I have a pass. But you got to understand, one day you're gonna be where I'm at. But
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
mentality of people, not only
Well,
bus operators. That's in general.
yeah,
You know.
definitely. Hey, I can one
You,
up you. I
excuse the
yeah,
interruption, gentlemen.
yeah,
You
Caesar.
know, I and pertaining to what Lloyd just said, I always live by you never leave a fallen soldier behind enemy lines because there'll be dire consequences.
Hmm.
Meaning Lloyd is a soldier who's retired, but he's not getting his just due. If
Hmm.
we still active with the ability to change, alter, or get behind his fight, and we don't, in essence, we are leaving him behind enemy lines. And the dire consequences will be us in his position one day uh, dealing with the same situation he's dealing with. That's
Hmm.
just a metaphor But
Mm-hmm.
I think you get the point. Whereas it's no unity in the union. Every fight is an individual's fight, and this is why we're not strong anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? Like the ones like Bill Pelletier, Harry Wills. These is guys who took up the fight, and Lloyd, who took up the fight, even if they didn't particularly care for you, you would never know it by the fight that they put up for you. The JPs, and everybody don't like JP, but these is people who sincerely fought for you, who
Mm-hmm.
didn't care who you was or what your situation was. As long as you're a member in good standings, they're gonna take up the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gone now. And like Lloyd said, it's a popularity contest. I'm gonna vote for him because I like him. No,
Mm-hmm.
don't vote for me because you like me. Vote for me because you believe that I'm gonna do the best that I can, and I'm the person who's gonna represent you in
Mm-hmm.
the best possible way that I can.
Yep. And that's something that Brooklyn Pete always stresses on his show. He's not going to vote for you because he's your friend. He's going to
Right.
vote for the one who could do the job the best, and that's point blank.
That's
And you
just like
can't.
every time a operator gets promoted to a dispatcher, I give them a pen. They say, "What's this for?" In case you gotta write me, use my own pen,
Mm,
because you're not just gonna wake up one day and say, "You know what? I'm gonna write Caesar." I'm gonna give you a reason to, and if you have to, then I shouldn't feel no kind of way because I put myself in that position to get the violation. And for the most part, unless they just an a-hole, most most dispatchers give you as much concession as they possibly can.
mm,
You understand? When you get written, when you get taken out of service, when you get whatever the case may be, disciplinary action, 8 times out of 10, you brought it on yourself. And then you expect a miracle worker out of your representation, which, like I've referred to before, we're governed by rules and regulations and
mm,
contractually bound by certain things.
mm. Exactly. I mean, a case in point, I had when I was on a job, I was running late because of the line. But while I was pulling in, I stopped off at Mickey D's, got me a bag to eat, and pulled in. When I pulled to the yard, I go to the shack. I'm like, yo, I need a late slip. Now, this was oh man, was a dispatch. He was a dispatcher. He's like a GM now, but Boston was there as a dispatcher, and Boston looked at me and said, "Nah, you don't want no late slip, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm late. I'm like 15 minutes late." He's like, "Nah, you don't want no late slip, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Where'd you get that McDonald's from?" I said, "Yeah, I just stopped off." I think he said, "You don't want no late slip, do you?" And then it dawned on me I wasn't supposed to fucking stop at McDonald's on route and then try to get a late shift. That's pretty much depth of services. So I'm like, oh, you're right. Now I'm good. I'll see you later. And I just ate it.
Well, it's
You know?
actually padding the payroll, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's a serious offense. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So I was like, I took the cue. It took me a minute, but I took the cue. Now a lot of people don't like Boston because he's
I'm
strictly
one of
by the
them.
book.
I
But he's
think he's
strictly
a
by the book.
clown.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Like for me, he could have wrote me up and did some serious damage, but he looked out for me, and he's always been looking out. He always gives me good advice and stuff like that when I see him. But it is what it is. Everybody has a different interaction with Boston. So I've always heard a lot of people don't like him. So I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy, but okay, you know. But yeah, like you said, your point is well taken. People just a lot of this stuff is on the the member by committing these offenses and knowing that they're not supposed to commit these offenses, and then get upset when the representation can't help them. Instead of eating it like you and I would have done, they get upset and then they start to badmouth everybody and their mother around them. But it's like now it's even worse because we have elected officials that are playing games and not really following the rules that they're supposed to be upholding themselves. You know, there's a lot of I'm hearing a lot of favoritism going on, nepotism going on, and it's just how, why take the position if that's what your whole plan is to do. You know, we're supposed to be a system that works off of seniority, and that should be strictly enforced. But things like that are not happening. Like I said, like 6 days ago, Nas had to go on Facebook and post about it. It's that bad where you got an elected official telling you how bad it is. So with that, what can we do? I mean,
We
us
can
here.
vote. We
All
can
right,
vote.
there you
You
go.
know, a lot of people represent with their ego, not their intellect, and they
Mhm,
allow personal feelings to interfere with how they represent you. And that is what's tearing away at the fabric of the union and just bringing us basically to our knees. That's like if you outside fighting with your brother and then the neighborhood bully sees that. Next thing you know, he sees your brother by himself. He thinks he can rob him because he saw you and him
mhm.
publicly
Fine.
arguing or at a
Mhm,
disagreement. So
mhm,
now he tries to push up and on him, and by the time you come to help, it's too late because you done showed that you and your brother is at odds, and this is something we should never do, in
mhm,
my opinion.
mhm,
And we're exposing too much of ourselves to people who shouldn't see what our hand calls for. They
mhm,
just shouldn't see it.
mhm, mhm. It's crazy though. The the culture of transit has definitely shifted, and we as workers, transit workers, not me, but people in transit need to wake up and see what's happening. They tried to elect people that's supposed to make change. Some change has come, and some change hasn't. This year we had a depot chairman. Uh, they attempted to oust him from the chair by signing a petition, which has never happened, as far as I know, in at least in Gleason history, where people got together to sign a petition to remove the elected chairman. It didn't go anywhere, but still, the fact that it happened is alarming. That means that a lot of people are upset at what's going on. I'm not there to actually say what is and what isn't, but I got my ear to the street, and when he first started, it was all good. People were happy. Our culture seemed to be going the right way. Then all of a sudden, boom, nope, they want him out. And I'm not going to say exactly what they was telling me, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And for what they saying, I don't blame them for trying to oust him. But at the same time, it's like, who do we put in there? How do we get the right people in there? Because people will promise you anything.
First
It's
of
the
all,
union.
the whole local needs to be cleaned from the bottom, from the top down,
Mm-hmm.
like we did in 2001. And we had a lot of opposition because there was a lot of depot chairs left over
Mm-hmm.
as far as TA service is concerned. And the way the president at that time wanted the union ran, it was educate, 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 organize, organize, organize. They didn't do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They were mainly concerned about their extra, and they had a few people that they would take. It was cliquish, but the members knew to come to the division, which the chairs they hated because me myself, I didn't care if you didn't like me or not. If there's a problem that I knew you could solve and it wasn't getting solved, I would come to the depot. That's what a division chair did.
and I would fix the problem. So it was a lot of fight back with me, you know. But again, it needs to be the union needs to be clean from the top down, and the new officers they need to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
What needs to go on, like we did in TA Surface, well, I did, Harry Wills did. Every time a new TA Surface class came in, we was up at Zariga. We
Mm-hmm.
explained to them what we expected of them. We explained to them how they should wear their uniform. We explained to them how they should drive, how they would get through their probation. That's not going on anymore,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Because, like I said, I got a few family members that work in TA Surface, and I would never mention their names. They come to me and ask me, and I tell them, and I guarantee you, without me mentioning their names, if you seen them reporting to the window, you would know exactly who they were.
Right.
Actually, they'll probably be off probation soon because you don't want to put a target on yourself. And they're not taught that. They're not educated that way. They're not being schooled. When an old timer told me when I came on the job, yo, man, don't do this, don't do that. I didn't do it.
Mhm.
I got
That's
off probation without a problem.
that's another thing that we don't have anymore. A lot of the old timers who would take people under, they're retiring now. So it's like there's nobody taking stepping up to take their place to
Yeah,
do
but we
things
should
like that.
continue the legacy that was placed before us. You understand what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Because this is the
Right.
only way that the operators are going to be successful and thrive if we take them under the wing. Like
Mm-hmm.
myself, if I have a student, that student, the same way I was somebody's student, and they would come to me and they say, "You all right, Caesar? You good?" I said, "Man, I got 15 years." He said, "I don't care. You still my student." But
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, so often it's for the 3 hours extra pay. You don't take a personal interest in the
Right.
individual that you're supposed to be teaching and
Mm-hmm.
instructing and this, that, and the third. And I myself, I'm no angel. However, I make it my business to teach a student the exact way.
Mm-hmm.
No cutting corners, no bending the rules. I reinforcing them on a daily basis. I give them my number and I tell them, listen, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're looking for a light switch on the bus, you pick up the phone and you call me. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I will walk you through it
Mm-hmm.
because that's the responsibility is not just for that one day. It should go on throughout that person's career because you are a senior operator giving them insight and motivation on how to become uh, a senior operator as opposed to losing their job in the preliminary stages of their career.
That I mean, I agree. I mean, I had teachers who, when they line taught me, they like champitas. He used to come to me every day. Didn't matter all the way up until I had my accident. He would sit at the table to me, and he'd school me on something. It didn't matter. Every day for the 10 years that since he line trained me, he said something to me positive or something about the job. He had something to tell me every day. So he took it like how you're saying it. It wasn't just for that one day. It was for the rest of my career. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but I mean, that's still stuck with me. Like I will sit down, be having lunch, and he'll just come right up to me, hey, let me tell you something about today, blah 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 blah, and he'll school me on something. And to go to Lloyd's point about people not liking people voting because of how they feel about somebody, we have a operator at the depot by the name of Robert Whitaker. Robert Whitaker is very knowledgeable when it comes to
That's my
union.
boy. That's my
Union.
boy. For real,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Like I love him.
He's very knowledgeable about union business and stuff.
He's my
He's even
friend.
he's even taking classes on how to do this stuff,
Right.
and he would be a perfect union rep. But
He would be
people
an
don't want to.
asset to the
Yeah,
division.
people don't want to elect him because they just don't like him. He's a bit of an odd guy. But so what? He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. They won't elect him. and that's just terrible. You know,
That's
that's a
that's the
loss.
culture. That's the
Yeah,
culture now. That
yeah,
is the culture, and it's horrible. You know, and I talked to him. He pulled me to the side and talked to me. I said to myself, "Oh shit, here it come." But then I sat down and I listened to the dude. I said, "Well, damn." You know, he go to a labor relations school
yeah.
or
He
what? You
did.
know,
He
I
actually
mean,
went
Let
to
me tell
something
you
like
very
that.
something else.
intelligent
He's
dude.
Yeah,
very well politically connected.
and
You
he
understand what I'm
did.
saying? He knows who to talk to about what to get
Mm-hmm,
things done, and that's a very important part
mm-hmm,
of being a union rep, in my opinion, to establish relationships with people who can help you get things done outside of local 100.
mm-hmm,
And he's the epitome of that. He does it, and he does it well. He's
mm-hmm.
just not been given the opportunity
They
to
won't give it to
show
him.
what he can do and
Mm-hmm.
where he could bring this union, because his intentions are honorable.
Definitely, definitely, and they just won't give it to him. They just won't because people don't. They just don't feel him as a person. They kind of shun away from him, and it's terrible because, like you say, he brings all these things to the table. He would definitely be an asset to the union. I
I
mean,
know
you
I
got
would use them if
yeah,
if I was still there, and
yeah,
I would use them
If
mm-hmm,
in a
I'm ever
heartbeat.
given the opportunity to represent the people, I would definitely one. He already knows this,
mm-hmm,
because I speak to him often, and like I said, he's a friend, and we have a equal exchange of ideas, intellectually stimulating conversations, and it's
mm-hmm,
just that people look at people from the surface and don't take the time to get to know somebody or realize what they have to offer, and
mm-hmm.
it's doing the division a disservice.
Yes, exactly. We have other people out there too that are fighting the fight, and they're not elected. Like Danny Cruz. Uh, I think Enrique has been let go by the company, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
quit. He
So,
quit.
yeah, so he's
He
gone. So
quit
he will.
because they targeted him up there in OA. That's what they do. They a
Yeah.
bunch of punk ass, just like that clown came at me and Quill.
Mm.
But anyway,
I
but
mean, but it's
he
Let's
sad.
met
take
his
the
match there.
diplomatic approach, Lloyd.
Mm.
Huh?
Let's take the diplomatic approach.
Never, brother. Never.
I'm
Never. He violated, bro. He
okay.
violated.
All right.
And he lucky that I got grandkids now. Had it been 15 years prior, he'd have still been picking teeth up off the ground.
Okay. Well, I don't know the
Um,
specifics of that situation, so I
yeah,
can't really elaborate.
yeah, yeah. He called me out, but anyway, that's the way they treat people. Any and see that's bad too. That gangster mentality.
Mm.
If you go against the grain, they'll um they'll target you. Take
Mm.
Sosa Garcia. He ain't
Mm.
had no accident. He was just vocal, and
Very
because he
vocal.
was vocal, they got him fired.
Yeah, he was very vocal. I
All
mean,
right,
Sosa
and take
was.
me. It was a OA dude, OA boss in Grand Avenue. Right, I pulled in a bus. I pulled in a bus. I know it wasn't no jet damage because I know to walk around my bus before I relieve you, before I pull out. There's damage on the bus. He tried to write me up, said the cameras got me. I said, let's go to the cameras. He said, you sure you want to do that? I said, yeah, I'm sure. That's because I made a lot of noise in Grand Avenue.
Mm.
And the chair and the division chair target me. They tried to target me anyway. But
I don't see the division, the chair at Grand Avenue targeting you, Lloyd.
he wasn't the chair. He wasn't the chair then. Rhodes was the
Okay.
chair.
Oh,
Rhodes
huh?
was the chair. And the division chair, that stuttering ass, he put him on, he sicked them on me. But I know I walked around the bus. Every time I get a bus, I walk around and make sure there's no damage. But that's just the OA mentality. If you fight against them, I went off topic a little bit. This is what they do. And that's not what a union is supposed to do. And it scares a lot of guys. That's why
Mm.
Mike, he retired, he left.
Mm.
A very another intelligent guy.
Yeah, very intelligent, very union oriented. And that's a loss to the company because he was the
It's a
future.
loss to the union,
Yeah,
really. It
to
was
the
a
union,
real loss to the union.
See,
to
the
the
company,
Confucians.
the authority can replace all of us.
Yeah,
The
yeah, right.
union can't replace dedicated, loyal, knowledgeable individuals. They're
Hmm.
irreplaceable. And every time we lose one, we replace them with somebody who's subpar and not as dedicated to the cause.
Or they want to do like you said, go to the get along. I don't
Go along to
know.
get along.
Yeah,
Get along to
I get it
go along to get
confused.
along. That's why, I say this, and it's also an analogy, and I'm not, a lot of people just want to hold a bag, but they don't want the responsibility that's inside the bag. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying?
Hmm. They
Like,
don't want.
huh?
They don't want what comes along with it. They don't want
The
that. They just want.
responsibility and
Hmm.
everything that goes with it. Because you got to understand, once you take that step, you literally have lives in your hand. The
Hmm.
livelihood of an individual is the most sacred thing to them outside of their family and their food. Don't mess with a person's food, family, or money. And even though if they don't like you, you won't have a major problem with them,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
have honorable intentions and do the best you can. You can't win every fight, but a lot of times if you're not fighting for the person because of how you think about them or what you feel about them, then you doing a disservice to the union and you setting a negative precedence on how things should be done. And then
Hmm.
others follow that, and then we have the collapse of the division and the union as a whole. But I just want to say one thing: the brother Trammell is holding up his end, in my opinion. And this is totally off, you know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
from what I see, and I'm not on Facebook or anything like that, but when people send me uh, some of the clips of the things that he say and do and the things he put out there, that's the epitome of representation, going down deep, getting down in the dirt, and going to help the people who can't help themselves. And from what I see, that's exactly what he's doing. And I didn't always look at him very highly, but now I've seen him in the light once he's gotten the opportunity, and that's, in my opinion, that's what we need.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, as far as Trammell is concerned, I've always had respect for what he's doing for the members.
I
Me
never
him.
knew him. You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying? But
yeah.
like I said, now that he's gotten his opportunity, I see he's more visible to me because we're two separate divisions. You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying? And from what I see, and the fact that he pulls no punches.
no.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, from the first time I saw him when he brought the casket down to in front of the MTA headquarters, I was like, okay, that's what needs to be said. And so I always had a respect for him for that. We may not see eye to eye on certain things because
Well,
some
nobody does. Everybody
yeah,
don't see eye to eye on certain things. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
mhm,
Me and Lloyd don't see eye to eye on certain things, but I know unequivocally he has good intentions. You
exactly,
understand?
and that's how I feel
I've
about
never
Chanel.
questioned that. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I never would question that. Uh, but like I don't see eye to eye with my wife every time. You understand what I'm saying? But
Lloyd, don't say
hopefully she
anything.
ain't going nowhere because I don't think she realizes that she's a hostage.
I, I can't.
I'm joking. I'm
you,
lighthearted, but
you
you know what
better
I'm saying?
you better put that disclaimer in there, but
Yeah, I got to, man, because hopefully she won't watch this.
no, but yeah, like you say, I'll always have respect for Travell. Like, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
You notice I
Sometimes,
ain't said nothing, right?
yeah, yeah.
But that's okay.
Sometimes,
But
sometimes
let
we
me
say
tell you
things.
this, right? Like, let's just say, and this is the thing, right? Let's just say I emerge victoriously in my quest to become the division chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances that the present division chair or acting division chair will say, "Hey, listen, Caesar, this is what's going on. This is what you need to know. Congratulations. This is what's going to help you be knowledgeable as far as what's going on in the present, or." what you may need to know moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen. You understand what I'm saying? They'll just leave me. Okay, he won. Go ahead, do your thing.
That's yeah. I mean, I've seen that
That's the
happen.
norm. That's the
I've seen
norm.
that happen.
But it
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
No, they should be able to sit you down and run you through
The
everything to keep
transfer of
you.
power.
Yeah,
The
to keep
only
you.
person that did that, none of y'all probably would know who he is, when we took office in 2001, that actually sat down and talked to me. God bless, God rest his soul, was Lee Williams. Lee Williams
Mm,
was a staff rep at the Union Hall, but he was also a division officer. And one day I was somewhere in a depot or something, and he came in the depot. No, actually, I was in East New York because they sent him back to the row. He had over 20 something years.
mm,
And he gave me books. He gave me the bylaws, the Constitution, and he showed me everything. And I looked at him different after that, you
right.
know. But everybody else just disappeared. You
Mm-hmm.
know, didn't have no help. I had to learn everything on my own, you know. And I was tapped to be the vice president, and I told Ed White, I said, nah, I can't do that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm responsible for people's livelihoods. I'm not going to step out there like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I wanted to, I could have did took the job and fucked everything up, but I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to people. So as time went on, I learned the job, all right. And I got a rapport with some of the bosses. I didn't kiss their ass, but I let them know what we would do if you do the wrong thing. We'll shut the whole depot down. And that was an issue that all the depot chairs had with us. We would come into as a division officer, and we were in pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
We would come in, and if something was going on, we would shut the depot down. It was so much wrong in all them depots, and it's still so much wrong in those depots. Why people are getting sick? They
Mm-hmm.
got shit falling from the ceiling. You ain't supposed to work in those kind of conditions. That's why God bless Gibson. Gibson, even though he was the opposition, I always respected him
Mm-hmm.
because he did what a depot chairman is supposed to do, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody loved him for it. He didn't.
Absolutely.
It was no favoritism with him.
Not
I
at
seen
all.
guys come in the office, yo, man, I need a day off. He said, no, the book is full. Come on, man. He said, no, I'm not doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, they walk out mumbling and say, Gibson ain't shit, you know. But he was fair.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
that's all you could expect, all you can hope for in a union rep. You
Mm-hmm.
know, fairness and impartiality.
Yep. That definitely was Gibson. I seen it with my own eyes. How people would talk so much shit about him and then come in the office and expect him to help, and he would help them like
Yep,
it was
that was
nothing.
him.
It was nothing. And he'd come back in the office. He might say something to me, you know, but then he'd let it go. And I'm like, whatever, Gibson, man. He was just a funny dude. Like he'd be like, man, I had to help him. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. That was him, you
yeah,
know.
but I seen Gibson lose it one time, and it took so much for him to lose it. And unfortunately, people calmed him down, and he returned back to his normal. So, but I was very surprised to see that out of Gibson. That he was
No,
really
I've
upset.
seen it quite a few
But
times.
he was human. He
Yeah,
was
he was.
human.
That's why I
So you
didn't.
know you
Mhm.
can't expect perfect all the time. But
Actually, I
in
was rooting for it.
percentages, was he held it together 99.9% of the
Mhm.
time? You don't take that one or two times and hold it against him because I didn't have the pleasure. I've met him on several occasions. I've been in his presence, but I didn't have the pleasure of being in his depot and him representing me. But
Mhm.
even in his passing, he's legendary.
Yep,
You understand what I'm saying?
still
And
is.
and anybody who speaks of him, I've never heard anybody speak of him ill-willed. You know,
Can't.
everybody's not perfect and everybody's not going to get their praises sung, but
Hmm.
the overall consensus on that brother, he was good money, and he would probably, if God spared his life, he would probably be a lot higher on the food chain if he had aspirations of doing so.
Exactly. Yeah.
He would have been at least minimum a vice president. You know,
Hmm.
know, like he could have done that
Yeah,
because his actions spoke volumes.
absolutely. And like you said, he's a legend to Depot, and there will never
Legend
be
throughout the system.
there'll never be another chairman like him at all.
Well,
Completely.
you know what? In that realm, I gotta give it to my first cousin Nat Jenkins, who was at Elmer Park for 12 years. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I stay on the phone with him. I've learned a lot from him. And if I'm blessed to get this position, I will still have to learn more from him. And his
Mm-hmm.
phone will constantly be ringing because those guys, him, Momo, uh, Gibson, John Maori,
Mm-hmm.
these dudes here, they took this thing real serious, man.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? It was in their blood, it was in
Mm-hmm.
their DNA. And me being a direct descendant of Union royalty, if I ever get the opportunity to represent any part of Local 100, I will continue the legacy and I will build off of it and I will and phones will ring to keep me on track to make sure that everybody is getting the best possible representation that they deserve.
Okay. So we're pretty much near the end. So I'm gonna give you guys each a time to close it out the way you like to. Let me start with Lloyd. Lloyd, any last words for?
Yeah, real
Um,
quick.
mhm,
On the 15th of November, if y'all are not doing nothing, 75 Henry Street. If you're retired or active and you want to see what's going on with the retirees, our lawsuit, you can come down. Light refreshments. We're going to also be on Zoom. We're going to post the Zoom link to as many pages as we can on Facebook. You can also go to the YouTube.
mhm,
And thanks for your platform again so that I can get the message out to if retirees are looking, listening to you. Um, we're gonna let y'all know what went on with the decision from the courts and what we got to do next. All right. Thanks,
okay,
Blunt.
appreciate it. Caesar, any last words?
Well, I just want to say, like Lloyd said, I'd like to reiterate, thank you for the platform that you provide for so many people to get the knowledge and word out that we can move forward, we can come together, we can unite the union, restore faith in the union, but it takes and I don't want to call them leadership because it's not about leadership, it's about representation. And if
Hmm.
we're being represented properly, we will follow your lead and it would not be so much uh, disgruntledness going on amongst the members.
Hmm.
Find a way to bring us together, find a way to restore faith, integrity, and honor to the division. And this thing, listen, we're a gang of 37,000, 3,700 strong, the Brooklyn division. We
Hmm.
we 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 move the city. We could have the city at our feet if we go about it the right way.
Right. Mhm.
That's basically it.
So I agree. One of the words I use, Caesar, because I don't like to call them leaders neither, is I always say elected officials. That's the word I use.
Representative. They're
Yeah.
representing us
Yeah.
at the time.
Exactly. So that's why I always say elected officials because you have to show us that you're a leader before you get that title. You can be elected, doesn't mean you're necessarily a leader. So
Right. And
with
one
that,
other thing,
uh
we have an election coming up for division chair.
hmm
I have thrown my hat in the ring. I'm a prime candidate for the position. I would like everybody to vote. I would like them to vote for me, but a lot of the times the turnout is so light that nobody has faith in the union. They just don't care anymore, and they say, "Oh, it's gonna be what it's gonna be." But that's not always the case, and you have to show, you have to let your voice be heard through your vote. That's
hmm
very important. This election is and every election is just as important as any other election, the presidency, because this directly affects your life personally. And with a presidential election, you will never get a chance to shake his hand or look him in the eye. But if you vote for the people who you feel is in your best interest, you'll always have that opportunity. They'll know your name, you'll know theirs, and your voice will be heard through the stroke of the pen.
Mm-hmm.
Pen of Caesar Wright.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys, hang
I
out a
won't
second.
let you down.
Don't go nowhere. I'm just gonna close the show out, but don't go nowhere. Right? Hold on a second. So, guys, appreciate you watching the show. Again, Brooklyn Pete, he took FMLA today, so he's out with his family doing his thing. And listen, I appreciate you guys watching. You could have been anywhere in the world, you chose to be here. So, for Brooklyn Pete, I'm your boy Blunt. That's the end of our show. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. Later.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.